Greetings, one and all. My name is Derek. I'm the founder of Denver Yoga Underground. I'm also the lead teacher for our 200 and 300 hour yoga teacher training programs. This video is dedicated to giving you a more one-on-one or personal overview of the 300-hour training. Many people come in search of 300 because they had such an incredible time in the 200-hour program and looking to kind of build off of that foundation that was set. Some people come largely just to be a student, once again, like immerse themselves in yoga study as a student. And then finally, there's people who are maybe even seasoned teachers at this point and want to, hone their craft or deepen their skill as teachers. And people are, anywhere along that spectrum. Personally, I've done several 200 hours, several 300-hour programs, and just the yoga is incredibly, fascinating and rich and in-depth topic. So I keep on wanting to fill the well that way. It's 300 hours long, and there's no real convenient way to slice it where it doesn't start to have some impact on your life, but maybe that's kind of the point, is that we do want to fill our well with meaningful, substantive kind of enrichment or influence, and that's going to take some time. And it also might mean that some other habits or things get let go of, but we want to do this in a way where the constellation of our life is overall there's a net benefit and enhancement. So I would encourage you to honestly assess all the various relationships and responsibilities and work and finance and time and like so many things to consider to come to a kind of integrated understanding of the decision to do this, so that once you're in. You can commit with confidence, as opposed to getting, partway through and then realize that you're in over your head. So the way the program is structured is we meet every other weekend for a deep intensive, close to on nearly 20 hours in a single weekend, so 2 almost 10-hour long days, Saturday, Sunday, every other weekend. And then the next weekend would be off, and then on and on, from September to April. And you could think of those weekends, those blocks, those modules, something like a mini retreat of sorts. Imagine that you signed up for a bunch of retreats that were in your local city and very, content rich and dense and moments of levity and lightness as well in there. And, and you keep on going to these retreats, and in the process, you accumulate 300 hours of study. And there's some study that happens in the downtime or the interim in between. So you probably read, 6 or so books over the course of those 8 months and do some reflection, and assignments are given outside, including developing one's personal practice. This is really the foundation of being a practitioner. In order for the practices to work, we have to do them. Does not seem to be any workaround for that. And, developing our craft, the craft of teaching as well. Okay, so much of what I just shared is laid out in the initial portion of the website here, just kind of reconnecting as a student and enhancing your skill set as a teacher. And, I also advise that, to look closely at the degree of commitment that's involved. So there's no pressure here. I want you to make an honest choice and assessment for yourself. Here's this bit speaks to an optimal fit, both from our end and as well as the student's end. So, to be somewhat candid, I really value that's a win for both of us, right? For the student and the teacher, that we're all in the right room and that we want to be learning the things that we're studying. So I'm trying to be as explicit and clear about what that equation could look like based on a couple decades of experience here. If I were to summarize, some dedication as a practitioner is probably foremost value for me, both in my own as a practitioner and as a teacher. The manner of our program, probably skipping ahead, this will be down here below, but the manner of our program is more contemplative in nature. It's more holistic in nature. If you're just entirely interested in the asana from like a biomechanical or fitness perspective, this training is probably not a good fit for you. We're interested in the asana as a means to a greater end. So how do we use the poses in service of self-regulation, in service of just being a more resourced human being that's able to adapt to life circumstance, the myriad of life's experiences that present themselves, and what's more, developing our inner compass that we can take with us wherever we go. We always know where true north is, and we have the skill set of the yoga asana to help us self-regulate. Not just asana, but pranayama, breathing, and meditation. And that's a deeper dig, right? Like I could give you just a boilerplate sequence, and here's your script, and go, but that's not what we do. So it takes 300 hours to really unpack that kind of level of understanding with methodologies, as well as just personal experimentation and integration of the techniques. So it's a bit about, I guess I'm fast forwarding, sharing a bit about the content as well. But if you're interested in those kinds of things, this is a good fit for you. Beliefs, in a nutshell, this first sentence is telling: asana, pranayama, meditation, chanting, and scriptural studies are the means to a much larger ideal of yoga, which is union with spirit. So there's a spiritual dimension to holistic, integrated, historical yoga practice. Of course, we don't want to get dogmatic about that. There's no risk of that in our particular program, and it's an important part of the conversation, and I'm just open about that and curious as well. Hold some of these things as a question. So what does this kind of larger pursuit of yoga as an ideal, as a meta, look like? It can look like self-reflection, recognizing our own judgments and projections, whether that be towards self or people outside of us, developing a spirit of generosity, compassion, truthfulness in our dealings, some like tempering those parts of ourselves that maybe get a little sideways at times, make decisions align with one's inner life, and regular practice. I think that's really what a lot of this comes back to, is some dedicated sadhana. Sadhana means of realization. So it's some methodology or technique that you apply on a regular daily basis to elevate your center of gravity, develop your character. So as an organization or business, the underground values openness, honesty, mutual respect, and support. A lot of this just happens through the manner of communication, right? Like what we're doing right now. Like, let's lay this all out here so that we clearly understand the commitment involved from both parties. So, importance of communication, dedicated effort, inclusivity towards varied sexual orientations, identities, ethnicities, ages, and abilities. Integration of content, and as well as so that theory and practice slash realization, discovery, and if I had a third arm over here, I could fit another one. And student teaching, like your own ability to absorb the theory, the content, the embodied experience, and then be able to convey or deliver that to others. This is the trifecta that we're holding in the overall design of the course. That we have, the larger view of yoga, the embodied realization, as well as the skills and ability to teach and convey and carry it forward and spread good in this world. Those are some lead values. Here's a somewhat in-depth. These are the greatest hits of Q&A possibilities, at least according to the questions that I've filtered through over the years. What makes our syllabus different than other schools? Why? I'll let you kind of spend some time and peruse through each of these. You just click on the box and an answer is given. Okay, so just a few words here of summarizing what I said. This is kind of holistic, spiritually oriented program. You get to do this with your peers. That's always a welcome bonus. I don't know what the chemistry was like in your particular 200, but that always is like a revelatory component of programs I've taught, where they just realize their love for fellow humans on the path of yoga, and certainly beyond as well. That's always a welcome surprise, and something that I can't really build into the description. It's like a curriculum unto itself, the connection with peers. Become a skilled practitioner and teacher. Okay, so now we get down to the brass tacks and nuts and bolts of how the course is structured. So over the course of 8 months, we'll do 5 modules. So you'll see from the headers here the namesake of what those modules consist of. I'll just dive in, beginning with the example of Module 1. So Module 1 is something of a regroup, like getting us all on the same page. Maybe we've come from different lineages or traditions or trainings, and coming together and developing kind of a baseline common language, appreciation for sadhana, getting a regular meditative practice, as well as asana pranayama practice established, going over foundational teaching skills that you may have learned in a 200, but there's just a firmer bar on that, or really honing in on the foundational teaching skills, as well as up-leveling our teaching skills. There's just to kind of help put this on the map, so it's not just words floating in space, but you can see the dates here. So you can here's what I meant by intensified weekend blocks, right? Every other weekend here. And we'll see down later, there's a winter break, there's a month off at that point. But the schedule is like a drumbeat. It's pretty consistent with the winter break exception. Right at the midway point, so convenient. Anthony Davis will be presenting with us on and doing an in-depth anatomy physiology. You can see a number of bullet points here of the kinds of material we'll be going over, including a restorative workshop, which is newly added to the syllabus here as well. Some of these portions of some of these modules are available to the public. So, for example, October 7th and 8th, say, could be this dedicated restorative workshop that I was describing. Not the entire module from end to end. That would be that just wouldn't fit nicely. But occasionally, a little fresh air, breath of other fellow humans come into the space. about once a module. At the end of each module, there's a practicum. So students will have the opportunity to assimilate or gather all the information they went over, and now it's their turn to turn around and do a presentation and share their knowledge with the world in-house. And we would invite members of the public to be a part of your student practicums on these juicy. So it's a generative model, right? So it doesn't just end in the classroom, but rather there's like outreach into the public, and we're sharing a version, a distilled version of what we've been learning in the 300-hour program, freely available to the public. And thank you in advance. You'll be utterly prepared. So if the thought of doing a practicum brings up a bit of anxiety, it's really my job and responsibility and love to prepare you as fully as possible. And it's going to be, in my experience, it's always been like a celebratory and rich and a giving kind of event, and a sense of achievement that goes along with it. Module 2, called Samkhya, Yoga's Map of the Universe and Inner Practices. This is the right amount of detail. So Samkhya is a useful map of the creation and, moreover, experience, this whole phenomenon of personal experience, and is found throughout other yogic systems, and is definitely worth learning if as an aspiring student. It translates into many higher yogic philosophical systems, and it also directly translates to self-reflection, understanding your own experience more intimately. This is coupled with deeper periods of meditation. We'll always do asana, that's generously assumed, in as much as it supports whatever our theme or learning is, which it does. We can build asana practices to complement insights into Samkhya, and as well as inner practices, meditation. There's guest presenters here, a few readings written, deeper look at the breath, Ayurveda, major schools of yogic thought. So we'll do a little cross comparison, look at other yogas and history behind them. Number 3, prana, the vital force of transformation, which is, just like it sounds, a deeper slowdown, looking at the dynamics of Hatha Yoga. Think of Hatha Yoga as not so much like a label on a class schedule, but as an orientation. And the orientation is, how do I move energy to affect the quality of my experience or the experience of students? What are the patterns? How is energy patterned in the body? And how then do I pattern the body or the breath or focus in ways that produce more integrated and holistic change for the practitioner, for the student? So in-depth look at pranayama, for example, model of the 3 bodies, mantras, the 5 values, chakras are probably on this list as well. More of the subtle, esoteric mechanics of the Hatha Yoga practice. Okay, that's modules 1, 2, and 3, and then we get to the winter recess or break here, and got a whole month off, December 18th to January 19th. Enjoy, and then just 2 more modules to go here. You can see the dates. So this would be New Year's, starting in the New Year's, January. Yoga Sutra. So Yoga Sutra, in some ways, my sort of take on it is it's the user's manual for the Samkhya system that I described earlier. It's meditative manual for Samkhya. There's other bits, plenty of other wisdom in Yoga Sutra as well, but we'll slow down and have a deeper look into the Yoga Sutras. Most people are familiar with Ashtanga Yoga or the 8 limbs of yoga. That's an amazing contribution. That's an amazing vehicle for the yoga process. And there is much, 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 much more that Patanjali gave us to consider in terms of meditative science, in terms of kind of right livelihood, in terms of cultivation of insight and power and capacities are ascribed in the Yoga Sutras. So again, Patanjali, these are words we kind of hear now and again, and this is a deeper immersion. Yoga psychology is another term we could use to describe this. And then we're heading into the home stretch. Number 5, Tantric Science of Personal and Cosmic Evolution. So all the pieces, and again, there's practicums, boop, 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 probably 4 or 5 different practicums that go along with each module block. And this was the final block. So Tantric Science of Personal and Cosmic Evolution, co-taught by myself and Jeremy Wolf here. We will look at the 5 kosha model in depth, and Jeremy will be leading a Nidra intensive weekend, so one of those full block 20-hour weekend. That one will be available to the public as well, and we'll post those elsewhere on the site. Tantra is a big animal to unpack. One of the translations for the word is limitless potential. Another word is like a loom or to weave. So it's a synthesis of what works. More to say, and it also goes hand in hand with the kind of pranic principles that we described in a prior unit. So using energy for empowerment. That's the content in a nutshell. Here we can see the dates neatly displayed. Pretty basic pattern: Saturday 8:30, Sunday 8, and those are the block. Every other weekend, once again, including recess, all listed there. So it will be a rich and full year. Some pricing options going on here. There's the stand. Like if you signed up at the 11th hour, that's 4, 5. That's what it would cost. We do have a number of early bird specials listed here. I'm not sure when you're watching this video, but as of today, now this is what it looks like, and up to the 23rd here. By the way, I try to keep all this as timeless as possible, but obviously, dates and numbers, these things will change, and I may have to make a new video at that point. We'll see, but grant me a little grace in that regard as we go through this section. And then there's Tier 2 early bird prices also accounted for. There's a discount if you pay in full, so you can save some money that way, which is looking, considerably less than that, right? So timeliness is appreciated. Getting just your deposit down, which is $745 here. Getting just your deposit down and then paying the balance 30 days before. That's another option. Then we do have a payment plan, which, obviously the installment amount is going to vary depending on when you enroll. So that's all accounted for. Probably best to look over that again on the site proper. As a guarantee, if you after a couple sessions it's not jiving for you, you can get your tuition, however, not deposit back. I'm available for any further questions you may have. And what's more, this little tab, Enroll Now, that would be the, when you're ready to make that decision, this is the place to go. It's listed elsewhere on the site, like Apply Now. There it is under Teacher Training. I believe that's it, my friends. Again, you can reach out to me, contact me here if you have any personal questions. At the very top of this site, there was a bar for schedule it like an Acuity link, and we can just talk one-on-one. I'm happy to show you the space and find out this is a good fit for you. I'm super excited. There's this groundswell of participation, some eager folks, really dedicated students who are also coming on board with us in the fall. Look forward to that. Be well. Om Shanti. Wishing you peace.